Man, didn't the Bears learn their lesson the last time they traded with the con artist? Didn't they learn their lesson? We gave them Chase Claypool for a second-round pick, and now Chase Claypool is borderline out of the league. We flipped that second-round pick and made him JPJ, Joey Porter Jr. Now we get Justin Fields for a sixth-round pick. Now, what I'm curious about, sixth-round pick that could be a fourth-round pick, depending on how much Justin Fields plays. But if all goes to plan, Justin Fields shouldn't be seeing the field much this year, outside of in victory formation and maybe in blowouts when we're up by like 20 or 30 points. That's about it. If all goes as planned, Russell Wilson is the starter. But what I'm curious about is I know we think this was a fleecing by the Steelers to the Bears. I'm just curious about the market for Justin Fields. Is this what he was going for? You look at the Pickett trade, I'd say we got more for Pickett than what the Bears got for Justin Fields. Mac Jones went for a sixth-round pick. Now, I don't know if there's any stipulations with that based off playing time, if there's any conditional stuff surrounding that deal. But he was a sixth-round pick. We got Justin Fields for a sixth-round pick. Based off what everyone was saying, a month ago, weeks ago, Justin Fields' market was way higher than that. Way higher. But obviously, a trade didn't get done when the new league year started. And people are just wondering, what are the Bears doing? And then there's reports that come out the Bears aren't really shopping him like that. They're still doing their due diligence on the quarterbacks in the draft. They want to really make sure they want to draft Caleb Williams. So they actually haven't been talking that much about a Fields trade, which was just complete BS. I think they couldn't get a deal done. I don't think the market was that hot. So did the Steelers really fleece the Bears? Which I do think it's an incredible deal. Still an incredible deal, particularly for the Steelers. Because even if that was Justin Fields' market, with us trading Kenny Pickett, we need a QB too. And I think Justin Fields was the best option out there. No question. I think that's better than drafting a guy in the third round. I think that's better than all the other free agents because Fields has upside. The question was, what was the compensation going to be? And to me, a second, third round pick, that could have been a little too high of compensation because Fields most likely will be a 1-year rental. Now, could he stick around longer and re-sign with us? Yeah, maybe, but he's only under contract for 2024 unless we picked up the fifth-year option. I don't think that would be a wise thing for the Steelers to do because that would put us on the books for $25+ million guaranteed in 2025. That's sight unseen. We don't even get to see what Fields does for this upcoming season, and most likely we won't. If, again, everything goes according to plan and Russell Wilson is playing well. So you don't want your backup getting paid $25+ million because it seems like Russell Wilson is a part of the long-term plans. Russ wants to be here for the next 3 or 4. The Steelers want that too. This union was looked at more as okay, we're building something for the years to come. This isn't just going to be a 1-year thing. So could have Fields, was he potentially going to go for more than a 6 to another team? And the Bears, according to reports and Adam Schefter, just did right by Fields by getting him to the Steelers. Could have he gone for a 4th or 5th elsewhere? Maybe. But I don't know. I'm curious about the trade market. I wonder if the Steelers actually paid fair market value for Fields right now. I wonder. Or if they didn't, how much better was the other offers that were being thrown out there? Who knows? I guess we'll never know. Because apparently the Eagles, before making the Kenny Pickett trade with us, were interested in Justin Fields, and they couldn't come to agreements. But they, again, paid us more for Kenny Pickett than what the Bears got from us for Justin Fields. Like, what were the Eagles offering for Justin Fields? Were they offering like a 7th-round pick? Maybe the Eagles view Pickett higher than Fields. I did. I still do. But now opportunities have shifted. Now Fields is with the Steelers. Now Kenny's with the Eagles. They're pretty much in the same situation. Outside of, actually, Fields is in a better situation now. Fields is in a better situation because Russ is older. He's only on a 1-year deal, whereas with the Eagles, they've committed a lot to Jalen Hurts. Both guys are backups. But right now, Fields is in the better spot. I would argue, though, Pickett might be in a better spot. It's weird because I think Pickett, if he would have kept his ego in check and just looked at it very stoically, just from a straight business standpoint, he should have stayed here. But that's tough because emotions are invested into this. He's got a history here over the last 2 years. We drafted him in the first round. He lost his job. Like we said, he was the guy and he lost his job. His teammates have flipped and have turned to different leaders while Pickett was here. Like first it was Mason. Now, once we signed Russ, Cam Hayward, TJ Watt, Minka Fitzpatrick, all these dudes are talking to Russ and acting like Russ is the guy. It's no longer you, Pickett, even though, again, we drafted you in the first round. It's been your job over the last couple of years. So it was a weird scenario here. I could see why Pickett was just like, dude, I need a fresh start. This just isn't a good look here anymore. This isn't good. Now, we could have taken the Mason approach and just been steady with it. Stay low key, low profile. Stayed at work and just be like, all right, I'll sit back here, continue to work, and we'll see how it plays out because there is still a chance I get an opportunity this year. Injuries happen. Russ, he's up there in age. Maybe he doesn't turn back the clock. Who knows? But I can also see how it's awkward for Pickett if he were to have stayed here. It would have been weird. It probably, in a way, feels like you're emasculated a little bit. Like these dudes don't even respect me anymore at this point. Is he right in feeling that way? I see why he feels that way. But his play opened the door for stuff like this. I understand completely all the moves the Steelers have made since the season ended. I understand the moves they made during season. That which was putting Mason Rudolph as the starter for the end of the season. I get all that because, again, Kenny left the door open. And we're at where we're at right now. We are at where we're at. Shout out to all you guys in the chat, man. You must really love Justin Fields and the Steelers. What's poppin', everyone? How's everyone doing? KG Beats 209 in the house says this changes the script for sure. Aiden has got Justin Fields over Kenny Pickett all day. B-Man Savage 13 says go Falcons. We got a Falcons fan in the house. All right. B-Man Savage 13 says Kenny Pickett sucks. Daltonton says Fields' value is lower based on the big amount owed in May. We don't have to give him the 5th-year option, though. But I think even if Fields is just a 1-year rental, a 6th-round pick is great compensation to give up. Great. And it's a future 6th-round pick, too. I got no worries about that. I was more worried about if it was a 2nd-round pick. Maybe even a 3rd-round pick at this point because we have Russ. So it's like we don't need Fields here. It may have been different if it was just Pickett still. Mason went somewhere else, and we only have Pickett on the roster, and we're looking for some competition. Okay, maybe give up a 3rd for Fields then. But now with Russ, I was thinking, like, man, a 4th maybe. I think a 4th would make sense if we were just to bring him in to be a backup. But all it took was a 6th. It could be a 4th if Justin Fields plays, but I don't know if we want to see Justin Fields this year, man. We want Russ to be cooking. Russ is the starter. You saw that has been declared. Brooke Pryor tweeted it out. Steelers are saying Russell Wilson is a starter. They even told Justin Fields, we're trading for you, but you're coming in here to be the backup. And we'll talk about that. Is that a good thing for Justin Fields right now? Who won, who lost in all these Steeler quarterback moves? We'll talk about all the quarterbacks involved and then maybe position player too. Who else we got? Vegas Night 90 says Steelers need a left tackle badly. I think we're going to move Broderick to left tackle, so we might be looking more at right tackle at this point. Broderick Jones was drafted to be a left tackle. Omar Khan said he's going to get moved to left tackle. Is that going to be this year? Is that going to be next year? I think it's going to be more this year. That would be my assumption. Blitzberg 50 says very low risk for us either way. Yep. Absolutely. Very low risk, high reward. We swapped out our QB room of Mitch Trubisky, Kenny Pickett, and Mason Rudolph, who probably in total last year we were paying, wasn't Mitch getting like 7 or 8, something like that? He was getting like 7 or 8. Kenny was getting 2, whatever his rookie contract was. Mason was getting like 1.5. So in total, probably like $10 million. We were paying Mitch, Kenny, and Mason. Now we got Russ and Justin Fields combined for like $3 or $4 million. Now I know we're gonna add another guy, but I don't think that's gonna take us up over $5 million for the quarterback room. So we're either gonna draft a guy or sign a guy probably for vet minimum or like $1 million or $2 million to be QB3, right? Crazy turnaround. Crazy turnaround. And who would have thought? I said this yesterday. Who would have thought if you would have told me, like, hey, our quarterback room is going to be Russell Wilson and Justin Fields? Who would have thought? I've been like, oh, yeah, that makes complete sense. I'm completely good with it. Because I was good with it every step along the way. Every decision we made. Understood the Russell Wilson signing. Objectively a good move. You get a Hall of Famer in here for a vet minimum contract. Makes sense. Kenny Pickett reacted the way he did to the Russ Wilson signing. I was like, man, I know Kenny's my guy. I still think he could be a good quarterback. I still think he could have been a good quarterback for us this year. I stand by that. I stand by all my takes weeks ago, even just last week. I stand by all of them. I think we could have rolled with Kenny or Mason this year. I think we could have rolled with them. The one thing I do think I underestimated and not giving as much credit for is Russell Wilson and just the aura and the excitement and the hope and all that stuff that he brings. Because you could feel it, not only from the current Steeler players and how they reacted when we brought in Russ, but, dude, just being out and about, talking with the people in the city, Steeler fans, they're like, oh, man, I can't wait. We got Russell Wilson, bro. It's just the thought. We got Russell Wilson. We got a chance. That dude beat Mahomes last year. He ain't afraid to play Mahomes, right? Like, there's a little bit of a difference. No matter how you feel about Russell Wilson, right, and his play, like, is he on the downswing? Those Broncos years weren't what he or the Broncos were hoping for, right? But there is still a narrative. There is still potential that he can turn it around, and that just wasn't a good fit for him. So if you do get the Russell Wilson of old, or what the Russell Wilson is that we're used to, that could be something. And the fact that it's a low-risk signing for a vet minimum, it's just a no-brainer for the Steelers. But, yeah, then Kenny Pickett reacted the way that he did, and we got to get him out of here. Can't have a guy here that doesn't want to be here, especially at the quarterback position and especially as high profile as Kenny Pickett is. But then after that, you're sitting around looking and saying, oh, we only got one quarterback on the team right now. We need a backup. Who's out there? Oh, Justin Fields. That'd be pretty cool. I wasn't the biggest fan of bringing in Justin Fields here to be the starter, giving up a lot of compensation for him, but Justin Fields as the backup? All right, what price are we talking? 6th-round pick? Sign me up immediately. Who would have thought, man? Who would have thought if you would have brought me this potential option to us where we sit right now with our quarterbacks? And I would have been like, yeah, cool. I probably wouldn't have said it at the time. I'd been like, nah, we don't need that. We don't need that. Let's roll with Kenny Mason. We're good. But here we are. Music City Cajun says full send on Russell Wilson and Justin Fields. KG Beats 209. I say we grab a quarterback with that pick at 98. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see who's there. Joe Milton's intriguing because of the upside. But, man, we got Russ Wilson and Justin Fields. I don't even think we got to worry about QB3 right now. I ain't stressing about it. I'm really not. How about this one? Jim Fields says, Fields will be gone in 2 years just like Trubisky. It won't work out. I mean, we're not relying on Fields, though. Russ is our starter. We're not even relying on Fields. Like, we don't even want to see Fields out there like that right now. I don't, at least. I want to see what Russ can do. So I don't think this is the exact same situation here. Trubisky was brought in initially to be the starter, but then we signed Pickett. We're bringing in Fields as the backup. No questions asked. The funny thing about that comment is, though, think about it. This is the second time Justin Fields has replaced Mitch Trubisky in his career. Bears, now Steelers. KG Beats 209. I want to see Fields because we're on fire. Or we're fire on Madden with him. He is a good Madden player. That is true. I think we definitely upgraded in Madden this year. Absolutely upgraded. Yeah, we got some good Madden players in the house. Patrick Queen on defense. Got a really fast cornerback in Dante Jackson. I think he's typically like 97, 98 speed. I don't know what he is right now because he's a little bit older coming off the Achilles injury. Was he like 95 speed this year? You guys know I wasn't on Madden as much for 2023 and now even going into 2024. I haven't played Madden in like 6 months. So I don't know what Dante Jackson's speed is. But we also got, Patrick Queen. We looking good on Madden. Lost Deontay, but still, Calvin Austin can replace Deontay in Madden. Calvin Austin, honestly, is probably the better receiver in Madden over Deontay. You got Pickens, you got the big body receiver, but then with Calvin Austin, he's got the speed. Deontay don't got that speed. All right, man. Let's get into winners and losers from these quarterback moves. Again, shout out to all you guys for being in the house. I did want to talk about this, though, real quick before we get into the winners and losers. Just some food for thought. What is going to be Justin Fields' number? We got the Photoshop jersey from Adam Schefter being number 5. But Justin Fields, his whole football career, even going back to high school, has been number 1. Number 1 in high school, even number 1 at Georgia, his first college. Then number 1 at Ohio State. Then number 1 with the Chicago Bears. We haven't given out number 1 since Gary Anderson. It's one of those numbers that is unofficially retired. George Pickens wanted number 1, but the reason why at the time he didn't get number 1 is because I guess there's 2 reasons. One, the Gary Anderson thing, but also we don't give out single digits to position players. That's a Steeler tradition. But Patrick Queen is going to be wearing 6. We're going to let him wear number 6. So it's really weird. Patrick Peterson last year wanted a single digit. I think he want 2? Because we signed him and Mason wasn't on the roster. So Peterson could have had 2 if he wanted. He wasn't going to get 7. I know he wanted 7. He was 7 with the Vikings. He was 7 at LSU. You're not getting 7. He made a joke about that, but it wasn't funny. So we didn't let him get 2. We didn't let Joey Porter Jr. get 5. I think he wanted 5, right? Pickens wanted 1, but there's 2 reasons why maybe we didn't give Pickens 1. Now Justin Fields comes in. Are we turning a page on like some of our jersey number rules? If there is one of these unofficial jersey numbers that are, unofficially retired that are out there that I think we can't afford to give up, it is number 1. Like there's other numbers like 7, 12, 58, 43, 86. You're not giving up those numbers. 47. Mike Webster's number, you're not giving up those numbers. No, there's no chance. But 1, Gary Anderson, you see there's a difference there. You see the difference between all the other guys that I named in Steelers lore versus Gary Anderson? Am I wrong? Gary Anderson was before my time, but I'm just bringing it up. Could Justin Fields potentially get number 1? Now, the difference between Fields and Patrick Queen is Fields is coming in to be the backup. Patrick Queen is going to be our linebacker one, and we're paying him a sizable chunk of change. Now, also, could it be with like Pickens and JPJ whenever they came in, we don't give out the single digits to rookies? Like, you got to come in here and prove yourself, or at least prove yourself in the league, prove yourself that you could last years into the league. Now, Fields has at least done that. He's proved that he could be an NFL player, but deserving enough to get number one coming in as a backup. I don't know. You guys let me know. It'll be interesting. Maybe he's just going to take 5. Maybe the Photoshop from Adam Schefter, the breaking news, is going to be the foreshadowing. But let's get into winners and losers from all these Steeler quarterback moves. Before we get into the players, let's go with just the team, Steelers. Are we sitting here as winners right now? I think so. I think we're winners. I think ultimately we're winners. We got Russell Wilson on a vet minimum contract. We got Justin Fields in here at quarterback 2. All we had to give up was a 6th-round pick. There's an excitement in the building, in the city. I feel like there's like legitimate hope. There's legitimate expectations that we can contend. We can go the distance. Like, we could hang with anyone in the league right now, hang with anyone in the AFC. So, yes, I do think we're winners. I still stand by that if we were to have kept Pickett, if we were to have kept Mason, and either one of them would have been the starters, we would have been good too. But there's a different energy right now. I have to admit that. I have to fully admit that. And I think there is just something to having Russell Wilson here. There's something to that. Even on a potential down year, if you want to talk about his 2023 season and, you know, how maybe some of his numbers were empty or a little bit fool's gold. Dude still had 29 touchdowns in only 15 games. There's something to be said for that. Next, Russell Wilson, winner. He think he's in a perfect scenario here to extend his career. Perfect scenario. You already heard me talking about how he views this as something long-term, and I think the Steelers view Russell Wilson being here as something long-term. Now, you still got to bring it on the field. Talk is cheap right now in the offseason. Like, if Russell Wilson comes out here and lays an egg, then, yeah, we're probably going to be pretty apt to move on from him and probably put Justin Fields out there at some point. But as we sit here right now, the vibes are good. He's still getting paid what his Broncos contract was. He's still getting paid a lucrative amount, but he's in a better situation with a team that believes in him. I think is going to be setting him up much better for success if he wants to have a second stint to his career, like Kurt Warner back in the day, right? Arthur Smith, I think his system fits him. I think it's reminiscent of what Russ was doing with Seattle. So, no-brainer for Russell Wilson. Winner in this scenario. Like, of all the teams that could have used Russell Wilson or were interested in Russ, Steelers were the best spot. No question about it. You got a young budding receiver in George Pickens. You know we're going to add someone in free agency. We're probably going to add someone in the draft. We do a really, really good job of adding and replacing receivers via the draft. Good run game. Najee Harris, Jaylen Warren. Good defense, leaders on defense. You heard Russell Wilson talking about all the leaders we have on defense. TJ Watt, Cam Hayward, Micah Fitzpatrick. Now we got Patrick Queen in here. We got a good squad set up for success. All we've been missing the last couple of years is a solid it's just solid quarterback play, right? Consistent quarterback play. If Russ can give us that, it's not only a win for him, it's a win for the Steelers. It's a win for Steeler Nation. It's a win all around. Kenny Pickett, I think he's a loser in this scenario. I think he's just been losing the last 4, 5, 6 months here, man. Every scenario, just how every scenario has played out has not gone his way at all. Going from Matt Canada being our coordinator, having our struggles on offense, but us plugging along and somehow sitting there with a winning record, but ultimately he gets fired. Kenny Pickett's first game without Matt Canada, offense looks awesome. Goes off for over 400 yards in the first time in like 50 games. Kenny Pickett looks good. Like, that was, I think, Kenny Pickett's most complete game. And that Cincinnati Bengals went on the road. First game without Matt Canada, his most complete game. Things are looking up. Next game against Arizona, at halftime, as we were about to go up 10-3 off a really good drive, he gets hurt before we could punch it in. He's out for an extended period of time. When it was looking like it was going to be close for him to come back, it was around that timetable in that Cincinnati Bengals game. He's ultimately not fully cleared yet. Mitch was laying an egg in the games that he was starting, and we turned to Mason Rudolph. Playoffs on the line, season on the line. Things were looking desolate. All right, Mason's here. It's Christmas. Like, what's going to happen? This offense has looked awful with no matter who we threw out there. What's Mason really going to do for us? He balls out. Balls out. And Pickett the next week, from my opinion, was probably cleared to play. But the Steelers were saying, even if you are cleared, we're going to roll with Mason. So you know the story, you know the rumors. Pickett refused to be back up because he thought he was going to be declared the starter whenever he was fully healthy and cleared. But we were still going to roll with Mason because Mason balled out. He deserved another shot at it. Kenny wasn't thrilled and was made inactive. Was made to be not cleared just yet. Now, I don't know. If Mason didn't have that game that he had against the Bengals, is Kenny cleared? That's my thought. That's my thinking. Call me a conspiracy theorist, but I actually think most of you agree with me on that. But we saw what Mason did in the Seattle game. Looked just as good as he did in the Cincy game. Balled out. So you got to stick with him, right? Plays the last week against the Ravens. We go 3-0 to end the regular season. We get the help we needed going to the playoffs. Mason is the starter going into Buffalo. He plays pretty good against Buffalo. And we don't get to see Kenny Pickett again in 2023. Now we're sitting here in the offseason. We cut Mitch, Tomlin, Omar Khan, Rooney. They say we believe in Kenny, but he is going to need some competition. He's not above reproach. He has left the door open. So how we handle that, we're going to have to see. We do want Mason to return, but we're going to have to look at every quarterback option that's out there. What do you know? Russell Wilson becomes available for $1 million, $1.2 million. Russell Wilson is interested in the Pittsburgh Steelers. We would be stupid not to at least take a meeting with Russell Wilson. That meeting obviously went well, and we signed Russ. And the Steelers guys here, the current players, the veterans, like the guys, TJ, Cam, like Minka, these guys are talking to Russell Wilson. They're excited about Russ. They're acting like, all right, he's the guy. No more Kenny Pickett. Pickett's just sitting on the outside looking in, man. This was your job. A lot of things happen. Some of it your fault, some of it not your fault. You're on the outside looking in, and you ultimately get traded to the Eagles. Like, even if you would have stayed here from a business standpoint, I think that would have been a better opportunity, a better path for you to potentially be a starter in the league again. But I also get how you could feel disrespected or feel slighted in a way, and you don't want to be here anymore. Like, it's just not a right fit. It's like, bro, I'm not going to act like I'm cool with how everything played out. Let me get a fresh start. Let me go to the Eagles. Now you go to the Eagles, and I think you're in a worse opportunity to get a chance to ever become a starter in the league again. Could it happen? Anything happens, right? Injuries, poor play, whatever. But it might have been better for him to stay here. If you were just going to look at it from a straight business standpoint, take the emotions out of it. But we're humans. You can't completely take the emotions out of it. And I do understand why he would have wanted a fresh start. And now he's with the Philadelphia Eagles. So I think he's been a big loser in how everything's taken place with our quarterback moves and just the quarterback situation here in Pittsburgh over the last several months. Mason Rudolph, winner. I think he's a winner. He's getting some money. Maybe not as much as he would have liked coming off of those last 4 games. Maybe he was hoping for $5+ million. But I think he's going to have a legitimate chance to start there down in Tennessee. Whereas with here, if we would have kept Kenny, I think he would have got a chance. Would we have been biased towards Kenny? Probably. So maybe and I might have been wrong on this. Maybe he's got a better chance to start in Tennessee than he would have ever had here in Pittsburgh. Obviously, with us signing Russ, I think that was a terrible chance for him to start. But down in Tennessee, Will Levis, new regime. I don't think they're going to draft anyone or bring in anyone else that's going to be a serious competitor because they drafted Levis in the second round last year. But they're not tied to him completely like Mike Vrabel would have been or the old regime would have been. So I think they're going to be open to competition here between Mason and Levis. Does Levis have an edge? Maybe. But I don't think Levis is that good. I think that's why I'm saying that too. I think Mason Rudolph is going to have a legit chance to start at some point this season. Whether it's him just beating out Levis this offseason or because of Levis's poor play or potentially an injury or who knows. Who knows? I think Mason, if I had to bet, is Mason Rudolph going to start a game for the Titans this year? I would bet yes. I don't know what the odds would be on that, but I would bet yes. I would put some money on that. Justin Fields, winner, loser. I'm going to say both. I think he's a winner because he's in a good spot here for the longevity of his NFL career. Being behind Russell Wilson, being here with the Steelers organization, you get to take a breath and just sit back, learn from a Hall of Famer, take it all in, learn some lessons. Almost like, honestly, if you want to do the Mitch comparisons and just how both their careers played out in Chicago and even afterwards, holy crap, like this is very similar. Mitch Trubisky went to the Bills to what? Be the backup. The Bills already had their QB1 in place and Josh Allen. Trubisky sat a year and then looked at the quarterback landscape and the free agent landscape the following year and got a chance to be a QB1 again. Got a chance to be a competitor again. His stock went up just by sitting. So maybe that could be the same way here for Fields. So that's why I think he's a winner. This is a good spot for him. But I think he's also a loser in a way just because he's not going to get a chance to start this year, most likely. Like, if he would have went somewhere else, could he have competed to be quarterback one? I think so. But what other teams at this point, and this goes back to his market, what other teams at this point were willing to bring Justin Fields or wanted to bring Justin Fields over maybe drafting a rookie quarterback? Because the other teams that would have been interested in him, it was the Falcons. They already signed Kirk Cousins. And you're looking at like the Vikings and the Raiders, right? What other team out there was seriously considering Justin Fields? I think that was it. Maybe the Giants have been in the mix because the Giants looked at Russ. I don't know. But all those teams, like, let's take the Giants out of it. I didn't hear the Giants were interested in Fields like that. But with the Raiders and Vikings, they're most likely looking at McCarthy or Nix or one of these rookies. So, like, yeah, I think if Fields would have went to those places, Raiders or Vikings, and those teams didn't want rookie quarterbacks, then he could have competed. But right now, like, I think he's like delegated to a backup, which sucks for him coming off of starting 3 years in a row with the Chicago Bears and looking like he can play in this league, right? Like, he can play. He's got upside, but it just hasn't all the way been there. And I think he got a little bit of a raw deal in Chicago from the standpoint the Bears fleeced the Panthers last year, man. Like, if they don't make that trade, the Bears are probably just rolling with Fields. Maybe they draft one of these rookie quarterbacks and it's a competition between the rookie and Fields, but he at least still has a chance to be a starter, right? If the Bears don't make that trade with the Panthers and they don't have the number 1 overall pick, he at least still has a chance. So that's why I think he lost a little bit here. His stock or his view across the league right now goes from starter to backup, or at least potential starter to backup. But he won in the sense that he's in a good spot for the longevity of his career. You take a step back this year, you take a seat, and then you see what everything looks like next year. Learn under a Hall of Famer. You're in a good spot with the Steelers organization. So I think Justin Fields a little bit of both here. Mitch Trubisky, I think he won. Steelers didn't trust Mitch anymore. The fit wasn't working anymore here. I think it was a clear cut. Like there was a clear cut of cutting ties with Mr. Trubisky here. Like there was no point this offseason. And I guess this move doesn't even relate too much to what has taken place over the last couple of weeks. Because we cut Mitch, what, 3 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago? But I think he wins in that he's got a solid job in the league right now. Bills organization likes him, goes back up there. He could just sit behind Josh Allen, get these checks. And yeah. I think he, even if it wasn't the Bills, I think he would have got signed somewhere, but that's a good spot for him. That's a good spot for him just to be back up, chill, collect the checks. Whereas with here, yeah, bro, it wasn't working. Best case, you would have been QB3, but I don't think we trusted him anymore. We saved cap space by releasing him. So it was a win-win for both sides. It wasn't working here in Pittsburgh with Mitch, and it wasn't working here for Mitch in Pittsburgh here either. Like it wasn't going to be a good scenario. Goes up to a better spot for him up with Buffalo. I'll say one more. We'll go Deontay Johnson. I think he lost out. Do you see some of the reports that popped up after he got traded that it wasn't just the Steelers that were ready to move on, but Deontay specifically requested a trade? And when did he request a trade? That was before we signed Russell Wilson, and it looked like we were going to be willing to roll with Kenny Pickett into 2024. So he requested a trade. He wants out of here. Then all of a sudden, 4 or 5 days later, our quarterback room has completely been turned upside down. So I wonder if he would have known we were getting Russell Wilson and Justin Fields here, if he would have requested that same trade. But now he's down with the Carolina Panthers. Worst organization, worst team, worst roster, worst quarterback at this point. I'm not going to write off Bryce Young, but he didn't really play that good last year. See, I think he's just all around in a worse spot. If he's going to be thinking about himself and his future and what his next contract's going to be, because this is it for him from that extension we gave him. He's getting $18 million this year. He's getting the last year of that deal. Now he's going to be hitting free agency. If you're just talking about putting up numbers and wanting to put out some good tape, get that next big contract, get another multi-year deal, I don't think the Panthers are the best spot for him. Not only that, but just, again, being successful on the field and winning games. It's just, I don't think it's a good spot. I think he lost out. All right, though. That is all I have for you guys here. Let me read some more chats, and then I'll read some more chats for the next 2-3 minutes. Then I'll get up out of here. Ty Kelsey says, "Does the Steelers have the best defense in the AFC North?" Let me think. We got to see how we fill out the rest of the secondary. See what else we do on the D-line. We got to prove it. Though, because we've been talking about our defense being top 5 the last couple of years, but injuries have happened. Inconsistent play has happened. We got to prove it. I think we do have potential to be top 5, top 10 again this year, but we got to stay healthy and we got to do it on the field. So, yeah, we do have that type of potential. Absolutely. Yeah, see what we do in the draft. Do we pick up a corner in the draft? Sign another corner? But we're looking good right now. Definitely. Maybe add some D-line depth. KJeff 2319. Good question. I'll finish it off with this. What position do you think we draft first? What do we draft first? Right now, center. As the team sits right now, center and O-line. I would go back to back. I'd go Jackson Powers Johnson first round if he's there, and then second round, take the best tackle available. Oof. We do need a receiver, though, too. Let's see what we do with receiver at free agency, but we do need a receiver. Man, like if we pick up a right tackle in free agency, maybe we can go like center receiver. We go center first round, receiver second, or vice versa. Go receiver first round, trade up for one of these stud receivers, and go Zach Frazier second round. But he might not even be there second round because I'm seeing mock drafts having him in the end of the first now. So that sucks. But all right, guys. Shout out for stopping through. This was a blast. Yeah, we traded for Justin Fields, man. Our quarterback room went from Mitch Mason and Kenny to Russell Wilson and Justin Fields. Whew, really fast. Really fast. Who would have thought? Who would have thought? But yeah, I think they're good moves too. I think it was a good thing the Steelers did here. Stay chilling. Here we go, Steelers. And peace out.